All right. So I've got a breakdown of the song "Build Your Kingdom Here" by Rend Collective. It's a great song. It's in the key of C. If I'm not mistaken, that is the key that is on the record. It's in the key of C, and so that means we can play it with open chords. We have 4 chords that we're going to be looking at here, and then your typical 4-chord songs. You've got a 1, a 4, a 5, and a minor 6, and this happens to be a minor 6 with a 7, which is normal. This is normal. We often see that with E minor 7s. This song is in the key of C, so our 1 is going to be a C chord, our 4 is going to be an F, our 5 is going to be G, and then our minor 6 is going to be A minor 7. The great thing about this song is we can play it with all these C-shaped chords. All right, so here's our C. Okay, that's our 1 chord. It's important to note the song does not start on the C chord. The song starts on the F, but it is in the key of C. So there's our C chord. Our 4 chord in this whole thing is an F chord. So we can do that a couple different ways, really. We can use the full bar chord, which is fine, but I know a lot of times that's difficult for a lot of people. And usually if you're playing with other people, if you got a pianist or you got a bassist, something like that, they're going to be hitting that low end, so you don't really have to worry about it. So what I like to do, here's our C chord again, is take my pinky, put it right up underneath that ring finger, and then I can drop my middle finger down to the 3rd string. I can flatten that index finger out, or I can leave it open. It's not a huge deal. Lets this E note ring out, but it's usually pretty fine to have that in there. Yeah, so I'm taking this C chord, and I'm bringing my pinky up underneath that ring finger onto the 4th string, 3rd fret there. Middle finger goes down. And you'll see it's just like your normal F bar chord. You know, you're just not doing the full bar. You're just leaving that index finger down there on that 1st fret. Makes it easy. So C, F, then we have a G, which I like to keep this shape just for continuity, make it easier. Take that normal C, bring these 2 fingers up, alright, take the pinky down, and then you can actually leave this index finger there. You'll see occasionally it says G sus4, G4, something like that. You might see that. What that is that's when you're leaving that index finger there. That adds this C note to a G chord. So you get this really neat little... Alright. And that happens a lot during the song. It's just kind of like a little accent. Right? So C, F, G, G sus, and then we have A minor 7. So there's that C chord again. If I lift up my ring finger, I have an A minor 7 chord, which is just your normal A minor chord, just without your ring finger. A minor. Makes it really easy to move around. Alright. That's all the chords in this song, even the little solo musical break, instrumental break that happens towards the end of the song. Now this whole song, the rhythm is set up on this kind of like and 1 situation. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. You get this kind of anticipation. It's in 4/4, by the way. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Whole thing is set up that way. They like to start off the song right in with that verse on that F chord. Come set your rule, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You're right there right off the bat. That can be hard for congregations, especially if this is the first song in the morning and you're not really expecting a lot of people to join right in. You know, you're playing this as people walk in, no big deal. But if you want people to be with you right off the bat, you probably don't want to start off right that way. You want to give them a little something beforehand. So I like to hold out on that F chord for 4 measures. Okay, that gives a nice little bit, and I like to accent it with that and 1. So here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Come set you rule and reign in our hearts again. Increase in us, we pray. Until why we're made. So you get 3 sets of the F C, F C, F C, and then you get a G chord. Each chord lasts for a measure. I think the G chord lasts for 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, G chord lasts for 2. So everything else is getting 1 measure. F. So F, 2, 3, 4, and C, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, and C, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, and C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4. So you got that rhythm throughout most of it. Now they will add a little bit. You can keep it as simple as and 1, 2, and just keep on those down strums right on that beat. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. You can leave it just as simple as that. Especially if you've got a band that's filling in and you're trying to sing along with it, you can leave it just as simple as that. But what you'll hear there is this and a 1, 2, 3, 4, down up down, 2, 3, 4, down up down, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1. I'm just doing a down, 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 down up down, 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 down up down, 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 down up down, 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 down up down, 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 down up down. Nice little ba-da-da, da, 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 ba-da-da. 4 and 1, 2, 3. So it's a really quick ba-da-da, down up down, and a 1. You can do that. That adds to it. It gives it more of a rhythmic feel. Kind of fills that space a little bit more. And that's mostly the rhythm for the song. That's mostly the strumming pattern. The verses are all the same. F, C, F, C, G. So, sorry, F, C, F, C, F, C, G. Then the last line of the verse, kind of setting up the choruses, is going to be half measure of F, half measure of C, full measure of G. We are your church. All you're doing is accenting those words with your strums. We are your church. See, I'm changing the chords on the your, but I'm still strumming. We are your church. We need your power in us. And then I'm changing up the strumming pattern just a little bit. Again, you can keep that same strumming pattern just on the beat with that da-da-da. There's a lot of different ways you can do the strumming pattern. Down, up, down, up, down, down. That's what I like to use through you know, once I get to the little musical interludes and on the chorus especially. Down, down, up, down, up, 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 down, down. That takes me through most of the song, right? Between those verses and the choruses, you have this C, F back and forth. The first time it's pretty short between verse 1 and 2. It's just 1 measure of C, 1 measure of F. Every other time, it's 2 measures. Measure of C, measure of F, measure of C, measure of F. Back, forth, back, forth. 4 measures in total. C, F, C, F. And that brings you into the chorus. This earth build your kingdom here. Build your is kind of a pickup. Kingdom is the first word of that measure. King, that's the one. Build your kingdom here. 3, 4, kingdom here. You have G. Build your kingdom here. Let the darkness fear. Show your mind. So I'm using that same strumming pattern. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. On that part there. I'm accenting those words a little bit that show your, set your, change the. Alright, you don't have to do that. You can just keep with that same ba ba da da da. Right, keep that strumming pattern going. But we have G, A minor, F, C, G, A minor, F, G. Okay, there's a little bit of an accenting thing that's happening there. It's a very simple strumming pattern, or a very simple chord progression, but you're going to want to make sure you look at the chords, make sure you're hitting that C, because it really kind of has that half measure of set your, so like the third line there, show your G, A minor, heel R, F. Instead of going back to the C here, it goes to the G, and then C. So it's a half measure of G, every 2 lines, half measure of G, then half measure of C. This is just the one thing that changes up there. Normally it's in a 4-chord pattern, G, A minor, F, C. But every second line of that chorus, that last measure gets split into 2. You have G, then C. Right, so take careful note of that. Normally it's G, A minor 7, F, C. But on the second line of every second line of the chorus, that last measure where it's normally going to a C, it hits the G first for a half measure and then goes to a C. And you really want to push on that. Okay, that's your chorus. All right. After the chorus, before it goes back into the verse, we have this riff on C and it has a G suspended 4. Now this G is just an accent. It happens on the 4 beat. So you play a C, 1, 2, 3, G, C, 2, 3, G, C, 2, 3, G, C, 2, 3, G. Again, in situations like this, if you're playing with a full band and you're not too confident with that quick switch, just rely on somebody else to do that. Rely on somebody else with a different instrument to take care of that. You can sit on that C chord the whole time. That's totally fine. But if you want to do the G, do that G suspended where you keep that index finger on that C note. Alright, so G, keep that index finger down there. Alright, it makes the transition easier. 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. And I'm using that same strumming pattern. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down. But again, you can go just as simple as hitting on the beat, every single beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1. And just add a little bit of that. And a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Trying to switch chords with that strumming pattern is not too easy. That little quick G chord, it's not as easy as I thought. But you can still stay on that C. If you want to simplify it even more, break it down even more, just stay on that C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Super simple, right? Now we've got this whole long instrumental section. And I'm not going to go into that. I might do another video where I cover that. the basic premise is that 4-1. These chords are set up in that 4-1 kind of reaching over situation. So you got like that C. That same strumming pattern, you're just kind of emphasizing this 4-1. And I'll typically reach up and grab that G note, even if it's not on there, just to kind of emphasize that feel. Dun dun da 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 dum ba ba da 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 bum ba ba. Kind of helps with that feel. What I typically do is I just run that that little instrumental with that C chord hitting the G note. I just run that like normal. Where you're doing pretty much just 4 measures of the C and you're accenting with that G sus. Because unless you're doing some scripture during that instrumental or you need some time of reflection, it's kind of hard to do that every single week. That really draws the song out. And unless you have something specific for that instrumental, it's not really necessary. So I just tend to do that little progression that happens after the chorus in place of that. Very small. Build your kingdom here. And then I'll drop out. Make it not, it kind of adds some dynamic. I'll drop out. Build your kingdom here. Let the darkness fear. Show your mighty hand, heal our streets, and set your church. And then I'll really come back into it on the set your church and just kind of end out with that. Finish out that chorus, do that C-G transition a couple times, and you've got yourself a complete song. So again, a couple things, strumming pattern. You can do it just as simple as whereas like a 4-1. Where you're just kind of hitting on those beats and you're just kind of accenting 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1. You can just do that. You can add a little down, down. Just as much as that, or you can do the down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, down. Just as simple as that. I typically use all three. I'll start off with something simple and I'll build that gradually. And once I'm in the chorus, I'm in that down, down, up, down, down. That tends to flesh things out a little bit more, give it some more dynamic. All right. Well, I hope that helps. Enjoy.